Alright, hello all you crazy people out there, this is Dragonite, and welcome back to Harvest December. So, we just finished a conversation with how one guy doesn't love the other girl and it's a one-way relationship and all kinds of drama, and in this part we're going to be continuing and seeing what happens. I left Kawhi dozing off in his room after a quick goodbye, and walked out into the biting cold. It was dark by now, and my feet left deep holes in the thick snow, making crunching noises with each step. Just my luck, I muttered as I looked up into the sky. Just as Kawhi had predicted, a blizzard had begun. The melting agents that had been spread during the afternoon had lost all their effect by now, and my legs got caught in the drifts where in some areas snow stacked up to my shins. That is some deep snow. I walked using the streetlights as my guide. After walking for about 10 minutes, I came out to an open area of frozen rice paddies. If I tripped and fell here, I had the misfortune of losing consciousness, and I was pretty sure I would die of cold, so don't trip there. Not ready to die yet, I quickly picked up the pace. Wait up, you disrespectful mortal! Oof. Not again. I fell face down from being tackled from the waist. Thanks to the snow, there was no pain. Well, I mean, frostbite and stuff, but whatever. I rolled over so I could breathe, my arms and legs splayed out. I felt the cold spread slowly through my body. My breath fogged the air. Through the light of the street lamps, it was hard to tell whether the skies were colored. Through the light of the street lamps, it was hard to tell whether the skies were colored black or gray. Only the snow made a clear statement of being white. Get up, slowpoke, you'll die if you don't move. Shooter nudged me on the cheek with his nose. I'll die if I don't move? Yep, but you know I won't let you. Shooter smiled. I looked up, almost as if I were in a trance. I wasn't sure if she put magic on me or if I was moving out of my own will, enchanted by her smile just to get a little closer. Why don't you wait for me to wake up? She pouted. It appeared I had angered a god. More water. You have no idea how sad a woman feels when she wakes up alone. Whoa. Kawhi was there. He doesn't count. I felt bad for my friend. I glanced at the small Yashiro sitting by the road. But you can get home easily as long as you have a Yashiro or Elter, can't you? I suddenly realized we were on the exact same spot where Shiro bowled me over just a few hours ago. The tree I had been knocked into now was thickly draped in snow. This place was right in the middle between Kawhi's house and mine. You think those Yashiro are just for me to jump in and out of, don't you? They have other purposes, you know. But I'm right, aren't I? The girl in front of me rode a wolf, loved eating ice cream and watched soap operas. She made it easy to forget that she is, in fact, the god of these lands. You're being a tease, she said as she shifted her body forward on Shiro's back. You know that's not what I mean. She made room behind her, inviting me to sit. I climbed on. The wolf started to run. What I want is to be with you. Oh, that's nice. Shiro ran at an uncomfortable pace, occasionally jumping over thick patches of snow. Whoa! Jolted, I grabbed hold of Shiro's waist and steadied myself. Exclamation point. If you don't mind, I'll just hang on to you. I don't even know if you're doing this on purpose. She placed her hand on top of mine. You always give me what I want at the least expected moments. What do you mean? I mean, when you hug me like that. She seemed at a loss for words. I pulled her towards me and hugged her tighter. Pressing my chest to her back, I finally felt secure in my seat. Hold me closer. I did as she said. She was now maneuvering the wolf with one hand and grasping the ruff on its neck. Masaki, you're big. Really? Whoa. Why do you sound so happy about that? She turned towards me and I saw her cheeks were flushed. Because size is a big deal for guys. Size is? Size is! I suppose that's understandable. The tall ones are generally stronger. The taller ones? Yes. You're tall enough to cradle me like this. Oh, you're talking about my height. Right. Okay. My ego deflated. My shoulders slumped. What are you disappointed about? Oh, I see. Her lips curved into a nasty smile. I didn't like that look. No! Did she throw him off the wolf? I've been taken advantage of. If I weren't holding on to Shiro, I would have been sobbing in my hands. You molested me. Shut up, you wimp. Why are you acting as if that was the most natural thing to do? What? Did I miss something? Oh, come on. Everything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That doesn't justify what you did at all. I almost wanted to say something further, but I stopped. I wasn't really something I wanted to discuss in depth anyway. Satisfied after having her fun, Shooter kept quiet. We rode we rode the wolf in silence for a while. Sounds like a good time for water. You have a problem. What problem? Relax, I'm not going to toy with you again. From the look on your face, I was not convinced. I mean, this is a god, and this is what they do. But then her expression tightened. You were talking about that stone-faced girl. She was talking about Yuki. Oh, okay. I nodded. I want answers. It probably didn't occur to her that I had the option of not answering at all, but nevertheless, she said she wants a baby. Hmm? Unable to suppress her surprise, Shooter made a funny noise in her throat. It's Yuki. I guess I should have seen that coming. Explain. There's nothing more to say about it, and Kawhi was telling me off. You're going to make a baby? Of course not. The answer was quick. Why not? I thought all men instinctively want as many offspring as possible. Do I seem that desperate to you? Not really. Besides, that's nothing much that's manly about you. Oh, thanks. I find that offensive. Or perhaps you have just suffered some trauma in the past regarding women. I mean, does this entire story count? You could try to have a child with me if you like. This is just getting worse and worse. I couldn't see her expression when she said that because she was facing away from me. You can't be serious. I do a better job than her. You sound so experienced. If having one man at 100-year intervals is counted as experience, she laughed. Leave us. She tapped the wolf on its neck. Shiro shook his body once, throwing us up into the air and ran off into the dark. Ow. Sky's been taking a lot of beatings today, hasn't he? Careful! We were suspended mid-air for a moment before we landed on the ground safely. Let me go, huh? You're holding me like a baby. She glowered at me in my arms. I let her go. You make me a terrible prince. You don't even know how to carry a girl properly. She landed on the snow without a sound. I want some privacy. I looked at the direction Shiro ran off. Beyond the white curtain of snow, I could see the silhouette of Ukami. Like the game? With an extra O? The snow beat down diagonally from the strong wind. Okami meaning the land where many gods lived. That would really fit with the theme of the game. With wolves as their loyal servants. That also. Disclaimer, I haven't actually played Okami. My knowledge of that game ends pretty much at like Chuck Conroy's playthrough of it in like 5 minutes of Okami done. Anyway. What's the matter? She was right before me. What is Shooter? He is not my servant if that's what you're asking. He isn't under your command. That was unexpected. Shooter is made from a part of me. She looked amused at my open surprise. But why? I assumed I assumed that was just one not question. Whatever. I didn't want a servant. I wanted a complete individual, a companion. For the past 300 years, Shooter lived independently without any need of my powers. But for what reason? Why would a god purposely divide herself when that could mean losing a part of her powers? I had imagined being flawless, being whole would be essentially being a god. I was lonely, huh? Is that so hard to believe? She wasn't smiling anymore. She was asking me with the eyes of a god. And she was asking me with the words of a girl. Oh, I get it. She was asking me with the eyes of a god, but the words of a girl. Alright. Reading. Slow down, Dragonite. Then the simple question hit me hard. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed, I answered. She was a god, and yet she purposefully let go a part of herself. I don't know, that's kind of like unusually human of a god to do that. You know? I mean, I have a feeling like the Greek gods would have done that, probably. Anyway, moving on. I didn't like the fact that she had chosen to mar her perfection. That first day when I met her on these lands, she seemed so fearless when she was overwhelming. And now I didn't see her like that anymore. You humans would describe me as being immortal. I suppose that's what's to be expected. But it's not something certain. It all depends. On what? I am the mountains. I am the earth, the soil. As long as part of that remains, I stay alive. Is this going to have some environmentalist message? Because I kind of want to see this. Not necessarily the environmentalist part, but like how it ties into everything. Shiro's explanation was similar to the old Shinto belief that all things have spirits or gods within them. I wanted to know more about this, and I asked her to continue. It's possible for humans to kill me now, I suppose, with the technology you have nowadays. You mean if we use something like a nuclear bomb? I have to say, I did not expect that out of a Japanese story with World War II or anything. I now understood her mortality. Or maybe they're being, like, more serious than I expect in this rather bizarre story. Who knows? There may be a method now to kill me, but there is no reason. It makes no difference whether I am dead or alive. It is easier to let me live than to make an effort to destroy these lands. So here I am, still alive. You are revered by the people here. That is true, they admire me, worship me, look up to me. But they forget the fact that I, too, am alive. I don't understand what you're trying to say. I stay alive, and everybody else dies. So she was left alone. That's why you're lonely? Yes. That's why she created Shuru, to have a companion that would stay by her side to endure immortality with her. What changed 300 years ago? Didn't you feel lonely before then? She pressed her forehead against my chest. My arms stayed lax by my sides. I couldn't hold her. I felt it wasn't my place to. What happened? You could say I can't relate to the golden bow. I can't relate to the golden bow. I stayed silent, not knowing what she was referring to. She noticed and smiled, commenting I wasn't as well read as I looked. It's a book written by a knight. How did you know about things like knighthood? I'm glad you asked. She puffed out her chest proudly. Then she pulled out a piece of paper and waved it under my nose. A library card? I applied for it. Oh, yes, because obviously all, like, Japanese semi-immortal gods apply for library cards. With only a few lights on the road, it was hard to make out what was on the card. I squinted to read the name Shiro printed on it. Right under it, penned in neat letters, were the words, "No expiry date." I imagined the librarian writing that down from her noisy, immortal guest and chuckled. What are you laughing at? I mean, to be honest, I think it would be funnier if it did expire and she had to go and renew it every, like, 2 years or whatever it is. Nothing, so what about the golden bow? The book taught me that any god that's shaped like a man must die. Because she stood so proudly, I almost missed the flash of darkness in her eyes. A god must die? It was a series of books, several hundred pages long, documenting the beliefs and myths of many lands. I read a story about a god slayer. Funny, so did I. And the tree. It isn't unusual to read a story about a god being killed, but in this story they use the term god in a figurative speech. So it's not like an actual god like you. It was about people. I feel like that's a typo. It was about people with enough authority to act like one. Someone the masses worshipped and blindly believed in. That kind of god. And so, that feels like all of Roman history, to be honest. She paused for a moment and smiled to herself. Even a renowned academic who spent his life studying beliefs and religions couldn't explain to me what a real god like me is. She wasn't going to be killed, and therefore was immortal. So you can't relate to the golden bow. However, that still doesn't answer my question about Shearer. I know, but it was necessary for you to know about that. What happened 300 years ago? It was a night like this. It always is. She turned towards Okami Mountain. I found the girl that wandered into the mountains. She was going to die even if I had tried to save her, even with your godly powers. No god stoops to single save a soul. Tongue twisters. But in history, miracles aren't performed by gods. They're just coincidences that happened to be beneficial to the humans who labeled them as miracles. Surely, you of all people wouldn't expect a god or the world to show kindness nor mercy. Anyway, I heard the girl's last wishes. So, she was so small, something so tiny, of no importance to a god, that she would have been easily ignored like a speck of dust. Anyway, I heard the girl's last wishes. Oh, this is, still telling the story. She was so small, something so tiny of no importance to a god, that she would have been easily ignored like a speck of dust. But I heard her, and she intrigued me. She had a fire in her, a will so strong to grasp at life, even as it ebbed from her. You may call it regret or hope. I don't know, but I was moved. She turned towards me. And now I have developed a weakness. What is it? Human feelings, passion, love. Her smile hardened. Perhaps she was regretting it, or perhaps she was reminiscing. I didn't know what her smile meant. It's the one thing that spins the world out of control, as history proves. I don't need any further explanation to understand that. I simply nodded. It was a simple form of power before. I was a simple form of power before. She didn't have preferences, she didn't have complexity. She had no feelings, no thoughts, only power. That was the one thing that put her apart from everything else. And people believed it was a miracle, something divine, so they worshipped her. But what am I now? I've purposely divided myself to create a companion. I lick the lids of ice cream tubs. Take a lover once in 100 years, and now I'm infatuated by you, a simple boy. I'm hopeless. And even worse, I'm enjoying every bit of it. She was asking if this was something forgivable. Her mouth was twisted uncertainly, but her eyes glittered with fire as if to dare me to judge her. She was angry, yet proud to be what she was. She was balancing herself between two contradictions. What about children? I didn't have an answer for that, so I changed the subject. I've had a few, but unlike me, they aren't tied to this land. They left as soon as they could, just like any teenager would. I wanted to go home. This wasn't a topic that interested me. I can't forgive myself. But yet, I like what I have become. You, Masaki, should understand me above all people, because you were drawn to me because of the contradiction that I have, weren't you? She took my hand from my pocket. It was cold, and the heat of my body left as soon as my hand was exposed to the air. She pressed my palm against her cheek. You're only interested in me because I'm a god, aren't you? I stopped breathing for a moment. All sorts of thoughts, excuses, reasons ran around my head. And after all that, in the empty space of my mind, I found that she was saying the truth. The truth. She was a god, yet a girl. She was a human, yet complete. The snow fell endlessly. These mountains were scattered, or so the people said. I met her here. She captivated me. I'd never met a god before. It felt unreal. And that was why I was drawn to her. She don't understand what I was. She understand what I was. I could feel the heat on her cheeks through my palms. I let out a breath. You're warm. I'm alive. Which was why... You don't find any value in me, personally. No, I don't. You only value me for what I am. A god in the form of a girl. Not for who I am. You only stay by my side because you're interested in what I am supposed to be. Yes. Why are you attracted to Yuki then? It was the first time. I remembered Koa asking me something similar. I am going to need to get more water soon. I will be right back. The water bottle has been refilled and I am back. It was the first time anybody asked me out like that the moment she met me. I think I did the same thing, didn't I? It's different. Yuki doesn't have a reason. I don't get you. You're a god, she's a human. So? You both asked me out the moment you met me, but Yuki, unlike you, had never done anything like that before. I didn't understand why she would do that. You commanded me with the certainty that I would obey. You're a goddess, and it seemed fitting for you to demand things. I don't think I was a special case for you because it looked like the most natural thing for you to do, simply ask for what you want. I'm not sure if I got that, but whatever. But that's not the same for Yuki. Everything went too fast. Something inside her crossed the line almost instantly. I didn't understand what it was. Everyone says Yuki just did it impulsively, but if it really was just that, I wouldn't have let her in. I wanted to understand what it was. And so you accepted her offer. Yes, and also... Also? I thought she was pretty hot. Oh, well... Way to help yourself out here. You're hopeless. And that's coming from me, not the... whatever who was saying that in the book. Shiro laughed. I felt the movement of her cheek under my palm. She was smiling widely now. If you want to understand it, why deny her? Why not take the next step in the relationship? Wouldn't you want to experiment? Because... Are you afraid she won't turn out to be what you hoped she would be? No, it's not that. Tell me. There was a stretch of silence, and then I muttered, because I'm shy. What? Shiro's eyes went wide. Remind me to never say what like that again, by the way. I mean, she's asking me how to make a baby. How would I explain something like that? I can't open our textbooks and go through it saying this is what you do, and then we do this. And she's bound to ask all sorts of awkward questions. She does already! So that's why you were talking about the stork. Got any problem with that? Ha. What? Ha 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 ha. Why are you laughing? I didn't think you would turn into a naive little boy when it came to things like that. What? Didn't I just say I wasn't gonna say what like that again? You're cute. She rubbed her cheek against my palm. I could tell the heat. I could feel the heat in my palm spreading towards my face. Well then. She lowered my hand from her cheek. Why didn't you just choose me? And she placed it on her left breast. Alright, this is getting questionable. I mean, it was questionable at the beginning, but now it's getting questionable. I don't need any stork. I could feel her heartbeat. I was speechless. What was I supposed to say to her? She had her head bowed down as if in embarrassment. You're acting like a girl. No, I'm a god. Your cheeks must turn pink too. It's from the cold. And your heart's beating really fast. I could feel it going in sync with mine. It was so fast, so hot. Nasaki! She looked up at me from under her lashes. I didn't feel the cold anymore. It was like we were cut off from the rest of the world. My senses condensed to my palm where it was connected to her chest. The beginning of it brought me back to reality each time it pulsed in my hand. I was going back and forth. It was maddening. Shiro. I called her name. What are you doing? Oh. Yuki Tawada was there. And right next to her was Miju, looking at me like I were the worst criminal to walk the earth. Well, this feels like a good place to end off. So, because I have to choose the most awkward places possible, my name is Dragonite. I hope you all enjoyed that, because I sure have. And I will see you all later.